yourself growing up not being able to play like the rest of the kids, or being picked last in a game because you're too slow to run, and because your body simply refuses to cooperate like the rest of the kids? These are not my words, but those of a 31-year-old fashion designer from Nairobi, Teresa, who has had a brave fight with sickle cell disease. But despite of the odds, she continues to shine bright and be an inspiration to many. Thank you for joining us. I am Miryamme Ogutu. Hi, Teresa.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you for gracing the show today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So just paint for us a picture growing up. How was it as a child?
Well, I can say a bit depressing because of actually not even of what is within you, but actually of what is without you, like pressure from parents and from neighbors and from other kids growing up in your neighborhood. It was a bit hard. First of all, trying to understand the disease and not really being able to fathom what was going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Then picture that your parents are not actually taking the time to actually talk to you and explaining to you exactly why you're going through what you're going through. So you have to figure it out for yourself or find your own path.
Before you, what age were you when you were diagnosed with this illness?
I'd say at the 6th month, my parents actually took me to hospital because they had realized I had developed a few complications. Then the doctor told them that I was having sickle cell.
So being able to grow up, but not as the normal kids in the estate, or where you know every child is running around, is playing and all that. But you didn't have exactly that because you're sort of considered delicate. How was that for you? Not being a normal child.
It was very depressing because you'd want to run, you'd want to jump, you'd want to do anything and everything that small kids do. But anytime you tried to do it a bit more, your mom would probably shout from the window and say, kindly come back into the house. Or you'd be confined in a space because they wouldn't want you to overexert yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So there's usually like a delay in development. So how did that affect, especially your teenage age?
While other girls were actually having crushes and developing relationships, I tried to keep boys away because I had noticed everyone had started developing by age of 16 and 17, and at that particular point you can imagine I was still flat-chested when I was in high school. So I used to try and keep away from boys as I tried to figure out what was going on. Yeah.
So at what point did it come? I mean, did you know that, I mean, there's something special about me compared to the rest of the kids? What happened? Like you're telling me about an incident at school.
Yeah, in class 2, I had forgotten to do my math homework. And back in the 90s, the teachers were very ruthless with punishments. So this one teacher came and realized, oh, you didn't do your math homework, and they took a ruler and they started beating my hands, both hands. So that day, it was a bit hard writing. And when I went back home, I realized my hands were actually swollen. And so my dad got really angry. And the next morning, he went with me to school hand in hand and took me to the principal and made a lot of noise. And I think at that point he explained exactly what was going on with me. So after that particular point of time, I realized the teachers had started treating me a bit different, and they started removing me from certain activities. Like whenever we used to get late for school, they used to tell us to either pick trash or run around the field twice.
Yeah, I did that.
So I used to realize anytime I was getting late, the headmaster would just say, okay, go to class. Go to class.
So was that a good thing, or?
At first it was a good thing.
But later on?
Because you're like, you're being favored. But later on you're realizing you want to be like...
more than just being favored.
Yes, you want to be like other children and not be treated special. So you would feel a bit bad about it.
And being want to be like other children, were you constantly feeling the pressure to fit in, especially at the teenage, age?
Yeah, I was an introvert when I was growing up. And it's because of those challenges I used to have. So I used to write a lot, actually. I'm also a writer. I didn't tell you about that. So like you write your feelings on a diary because you really can't confide with your other age mates. They wouldn't really relate. Yeah, so you keep it to yourself and try to want to be like others.
So writing was an escape for you.
It was an escape indeed.
How did that work for you? Did you feel isolated from the rest of the world?
Yes, you do feel isolated from the rest of the world. And then you can imagine every time you would fall sick and disappear for a month from school, catching up was hard. You probably had maybe, say, a close friend. So every time you came back, maybe a month, they had already moved on to someone else. Yeah.
Oh, they already made friends with someone else.
Yes.
That wasn't too nice, now was it?
No, it was a challenge.
Yeah. So tell us about this boy next door who you liked, that your dad told you that you couldn't really date him. What was his reason?
Ironically, we stayed next door to each other, of the same age, although we were born different months. But he was born in April 1984, I was born in August 1984. So we moved into the same neighborhood about in 1990. So as you grow up, of course, you start developing feelings because maybe you have too many things in common. Then this one time, my father saw us talking outside, and he didn't say anything there and then. He actually waited until I got into the house, and then he told me, "You're not supposed to have feelings for this boy." Then I didn't actually ask, because you see, when your parents talk to you, you have to keep quiet until they finish. But in my heart, I was asking why. But he figured out I was asking why. He says, like,
how do you control, especially at that age, you you're there with all your mind and your heart, and you think in love, and then someone is telling you cannot have feelings for this person. So what were you supposed to do?
He told me, wow. It's actually because of what he said that I slowly backed out, although I didn't back out almost immediately. But it's like, you both have sickle cell. If you wound up getting married, not that we were even going to get married, we were too young. If you wound up getting married, all your children will have sickle cell, and then you'd be miserable. So, his words were almost a positive and a negative at the same time, because what I picked was, you would be miserable. So I was asking, is my father miserable? Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It did make me feel a bit bad.
Yeah.
Then,
but obviously, I'm sure he didn't come from a place of wanting to hurt you.
Yeah, it was of love, but as a kid, you wouldn't really understand that. Exactly. You would actually pick the negative and run with it.
True.
Yeah. So even as we grew up, like what our parents said, because as a kid, you absorb everything.
True.
Even the really small ones.
Yeah.
My mom used to call me half a person, but in Luo and in Kiswahili, she'd say, like, when we used to go fetch water, there was a time we had water problems in Nairobi.
Yeah.
She'd be like, no, you carry this 1 liter. You are half a person. So I'm like, what does that even mean?
So with time, it doesn't matter really, but over time, it begins to sink in.
Yes.
What type of a person am I?
Exactly. So you slip into depression. Most of us actually battle with depression because you're trying to understand, no one is really explaining. You're trying to develop, and yet you're being held back by this. Then you have challenges and you have psychological trauma because people are whispering in your ear, you're not going to make it till you're 30. And you wouldn't even know why they're saying that to you as a kid. So you slowly start thinking, maybe the next time I fall sick, I'll die. Then you don't die, and then you're like, the next time I'll fall sick, I'll die. So you keep waiting for that doomsday, and then you one day wake up and realize, wait, I don't think I'm supposed to die early.
So wait, what are some of the whispers, you hear? People whispering behind your back,
Yeah, like it's contagious. That's the most ridiculous one I've ever heard.
No way.
Someone,
it's contagious.
Someone once told me that we're not supposed to hang out with you because you have sickle cell disease. So I'm like, what do you mean?
How old was the person?
We were in high school actually.
But high school, that's where you learn about this condition.
Yeah, but still there's some ignorance.
Yeah, I think
not everyone picks up a book and reads about it.
Yeah.
They started saying it's contagious, and I was like, it's a blood disease. How is that contagious?
Really?
Yeah. So you start keeping to yourself again, but Later on in life, you pick up and you realize you don't really need everyone that is negative in your life. You get rid of them and you pick the positive and you move forward. Yes.
So how does the weather, or the temperature rather, play a factor that people living with this disease?
When it gets really cold, you avoid going outside. I thank God I work from the house, so at least I never really have to battle with that. But when it's cold, you have to really wear your boots, wear your socks, wear your gloves, wear your jacket and your scarf. Even though you look like a mad Eskimo in Nairobi, you still have to do it so that you can at least take care of yourself. You would rather look bad and be warm than look really, exactly.
And at the end of the day, you have a problem.
Exactly.
So what is this incident that happened one time you traveled to Eldoret and you had a problem over there?
We had gone for mission in Moi University. We went as a drama band for our church. It was a weekend program, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I had been to Eldoret before, but I didn't have a problem with it. So this one time, and I really think what triggered it was where they kept us. We were 6 ladies, and in a dorm room, a really small dorm room, about the size of an SQ, an ordinary SQ. And that place didn't have windows. So as we slept, we were just fine. But I woke up on the Saturday morning. We were supposed to go to church. So we showered, we had breakfast, and then we left. But the second I actually got to the church and I sat down, I started feeling like things are not right. Then the pain was so immense that I literally had to whisper to the guy next to me and tell him, we need to slowly stand up and walk away because I am unwell. But I don't think they heard me. So I had to text someone who was seated like 3 rows in front of us. It was so painful at that particular point of time, and I'm sat on a chair. I didn't know what to do. And I also didn't want to cause a scene in church because we were already in the middle of service. So whoever I texted came, and with wisdom, they just lifted me up and we walked away as if there was nothing wrong. Then I thought it was a normal crisis, because sometimes when we have crises,
the pain attacks.
Yeah, there are some times that you just take pain medicine and maybe 2 days later you're okay. So I thought this was one of those 2 days you're okay things. So I was like, I need this particular drug, go get it for me. So they went and they got, it's called Cataflam. They went and they got it and they brought it for me. So I took 2. And I was like, just give me 15 minutes, I'll be fine. Yeah, so believe me, in the 15 minutes, if there was a volume in pain, it's like someone was playing with the volume. It increased to, I have no idea. Like, I couldn't move.
So normally, in 15 minutes, if you take the pain medication, the pain subsides. But on this occasion, it became worse.
Exactly.
Why? What was the reason?
I wouldn't even know what the reason was. They explained to me later. So I literally felt like I was going to die. All I remember was now passing out. At that particular point of time, I had taken over 6 different pain medicines, thinking all of them are going to work. And thank God we were near the hospital, Moi referral. They carried me to the ER, and then it's a godsend that, what's his name, a neurosurgeon was around. Professor Sickle was at least in the vicinity. So all I had was put her on oxygen. And then I passed out. So I passed out, I think I passed out for like 2 hours, because by the time I was waking up, it was around 2 p.m. And then now my friends, who I had not told most of them that I was suffering from sickle cell, because I didn't want people to treat me different. So now it had to be that someone else had to tell them, by the way, your friend is suffering.
I'm sure you not having told your friends so far that you were suffering from the disease, they might have taken it personally. But we will find out about that when we return shortly after the break. Stay with us.
You know, it's not easy for a parent when he goes to see a doctor and you're told your son might go blind.
I knew I was different. but I didn't quite understand how different I was.
Mothers sometimes choose not to breastfeed because I believe they don't know the benefits of breastfeeding.
So I started thinking about it. I'm thinking, man, if I can get TB of the intestines, what about them? Do they know that there's something like that?
I would encourage people to, when they wake up, to take at least half a liter of warm water.
Serikali iwachilie hizo dawa za watoto wanatumia zikuwe free.
I would advise the society to accept these children because nobody applied to have a child who has got disability.
Hizo mgonjwa vile nimepata sijajua na kuoa sana.
Mimi wajua I'm surviving with the 45% of my lung. This one may collapse.
If we could find a better way of just preventing TB transmission.
What more can you give to someone, who cannot see this world?
The World Health Organization estimates that at least 405,000 are added to this figure each year. Behind me is the modern version of the Manyata. It is a known fact that TB may and can affect anyone. As members of the Biotisho group sing their hearts out, they hold a clear message, that of restoring hope to the hopeless. And Angeline Kado for Health 101.
Welcome back. Now, before we took a break, you were telling us of the pain attack you had in Eldoret, and out of that, your friends really didn't know that you were having this disease. First of all, why hadn't you not told them before?
Because of how I was treated when people knew. I would have rather they treated me as a normal person. And that's why I found it a bit hard telling them about the disease. Yeah.
So did they take it personally when you told them? Was it personal?
They didn't take it personally, thank God. All I got was a lot of support from them.
Yeah.
Every time or every hour I woke up from the pain medicine, I could see a new set of faces, because you see, we had traveled about 60 people. And I do have many friends, especially church friends. Yeah. And because of the youth choir and the drama band, at that particular point of time, every time I used to wake up out of medicine, I used to see new faces, people either holding my hand and praying or whispering encouragement.
That's good.
Yeah. So the main reason I didn't want to tell anyone was to be deemed weak is not something I really like.
And then it's like a stigma you've had all through your life.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's understandable. So did you end up coming back with them to Nairobi, or you had to stay and seek?
They had to leave me behind.
Oh, no.
The doctor had said that I needed to be treated before at least I could have left Eldoret, because she wouldn't have known what would happen on the road. Although it was a bit sad to be left behind, but yeah, they had to leave me behind. Yeah, and they ended up calling my mom to travel from Nairobi to Eldoret to at least stay for the 4 days.
Well, she was, I can assume she was really worried.
Yes, she was very worried. Yeah. Okay,
so now in your family, are you the only person with the disease, or the other kids also?
I heard I had a brother who had it in the either late 70s or early 80s. My mom doesn't even talk about it. I actually had to find out from other people. And I heard he had sickle cell. Yeah. And imagine I had to find out by myself.
He passed on?
He did pass on.
I'm sorry about that.
Yes. But out of a family of 6 right now, I'm the only one who has a disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are some of the inappropriate whispers you wish people would stop?
When you walk into a hospital and they ask you, how old are you? And you say, okay, I am 30, 31. You would hear the doctor going like, wow, you've made it to 30. Okay, that's amazing. And you wouldn't know if it's a positive thing or a negative thing. So you just look at them in this way. Yeah.
Do I say thank you or
exactly? Yeah. You wouldn't know how to react to such a comment. Then another negative thing I hear is some from family members that it's either witchcraft or someone cast a bad eye. You know, some people are still traditional about it. Yeah,
unfortunately. And that explains why I think most people from a certain part of the country, they still die of high rates of HIV, because to them, they still don't take it seriously. I know it's something happened, they didn't do this, that's why this person is sick, go get medication. So there's still that part, that ignorance. And unfortunately, even with this disease, there's still people who still believe witchcraft, somebody did this to this family, and things like that.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. So you said, and I will quote, "We of this condition are the strongest people I know." Could you put that into context?
Picture living your life, because many of us are of different careers. Let me take a classic 8 to 5 job. You wake up early, you go to your job, by 5 o'clock you have to get back home, and maybe if you're a wife, you need to cook and clean and take care of your husband and then start the day again. So imagine like every now and then you have to either be in a hospital and be hospitalized, and no one really understands what you're going through. So because also no one really understands, you wouldn't really want to share, especially with the normal people. Because they really wouldn't get what you're talking about. Like there's this one time my sister told me that I am lazy.
No way. Your own sister.
I was like, what do you mean I am lazy?
Your own sister.
It's because, okay, first of
you
all,
expect her to understand.
Exactly.
So
it's because
coming from her.
How did I thought that was ludicrous. Because half
maybe
the time
insensitive to some point.
Sometimes yes, but I think it's because they can't really relate, so you really wouldn't blame them for that. So you only try to maybe explain. The reason is you would really want to take a lot of time to rest, because one of the triggers is stress. You can imagine you can't do all the things a normal person can do. Then there's one time I was dating a guy who was insisting you need to exercise, and I was like, yeah, I need to exercise, the exercise I'm doing is enough. But they were like, no, you're not doing it enough. But I was like, I can't exert myself to a point whereby I'm lacking oxygen.
You need to exercise. I think that's a personal decision.
Yes, it is, and it's not a bad thing to exercise.
Don't tell me to go to the gym. I need to decide that on my own.
Yes, you need to decide that on your own. But other people want to decide for you. Yet you're the one who knows what your limits are. Especially, like I can't. If we were a set of 10 people running around Nyayo Stadium, let's say, I'd only do half a lap, and I'd be like, I'm good. You can do 10 because you have all the oxygen you want. You know, but the rest of us have to literally struggle. In that half a lap, I would be catching my breath and I'd be like, no, this is not nice. Because I've realized there are times when we are added blood, like when you end up in a crisis that you actually require blood. When you're given that normal person's blood, for the first 4 months of having received that blood, you literally, and I'm not encouraging people of my condition to do this, but you literally can do normal people things. Like there's this one time we actually walk up Valley Road as a group when we go to get our matatus at the Kenyatta stage. So normally on a normal day I would take 30 minutes walking till Kenyatta from NPC. But the time you're added blood, you can actually do that in less than, you can even do that in 10 minutes because you have enough oxygen, you have normal blood, at least even for a short time. And I'm like, imagine I'm not lazy, it's you guys who are lazy.
So tell us, I noticed you really look really nice, and that is because you're a fashion designer. Tell us about that. I mean, what inspired you to be a fashion designer?
I can't say I've always wanted to do fashion and design all my life, but I really needed something to self-employ so that I don't get into the system. The system was killing me. So just after I finished high school, not that my grades were bad, I decided I needed to do something with my hands that would at least keep me and do it at my pace, yeah. So I didn't even know I was an artist until after that. I used to sketch. Then my sister one day just told me, why don't you try sketching and making dresses? So I did that for a year, and after that I realized I think I want to do fashion and design.
Yeah, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I talked to my dad about it, and he wasn't happy about it. I think he had other plans, but I insisted. I am very stubborn, so I insisted and I insisted until he finally agreed. Then I did it, and I trained for 2 years, and after that I've been working for 7 years now.
So who is your prime customer?
Young ladies, actually, from the age of 20 to about 35. Yeah, those who are finished, who are either in university, finished university, or getting married. Because I also do wedding gowns and bridesmaids.
Wedding gowns?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you ever try like the normal employment? How, and if you did, how did that work for you?
I did, but still under the sector of fashion and design. I got a job at Westlands. I can't remember the exact fashion house name. But I did get a job, and I tried. I was told report on Monday. I reported on Monday at 8. I worked for 9 hours. Then by the time we were leaving the work at 6, you go back home, and you know how traffic is. By the time you're getting home, it's 7:30. You want to eat, you want to sleep. And you sleep for another 8 hours, then you wake up and you do the same thing again. I did that for 3 days, and I was like, this is not my lifestyle.
No, wait, 3 days.
Yes, 3 days. 3 days of employment, and I was like, no.
Were you paid for 3 days?
No, I wasn't paid for the 3 days. It was too little to be paid. Yeah. But
Okay.
the 8 to 5, I don't know how people hack it. Because I need rest, and I need not to be stressed. Yeah.
And the hassle of you getting late, and you have to be there on time.
Exactly.
And the traffic, sometimes can be a bit overwhelming.
Yes.
So what inspires you generally in life?
Proving people wrong.
By that you mean?
Like I told you earlier, I'm very stubborn. The more someone tells me I can't, is the more I actually roll up my sleeves and I say, you've said I can't.
I have a point to prove now.
Yeah. Like when people say, I don't think you will live to see the age of 50, I'm like, oh, you think so? Okay. And I try to actually prove them wrong every now and then.
What do you think that people in this condition can do to maybe prolong, like their lifespan?
I'd say love yourself. In a bad way, love yourself more than you love others. Like, if you're dating and they're taking you at a speed where you really don't want to go, maybe say stress, like either, because stress is a trigger actually of a crisis. If you're in a bad relationship, honestly, get out of it. Like,
I think that is bad even for normal people. Even for me, it's too much.
Indeed. But imagine if like you were dating someone. I used to date a guy who used to stress me out, and my mom was like, that guy will kill you, and not literally but psychologically he will kill you. And you can imagine you've done your 8 to 5, you want to go to bed, then you're on a phone call. You receive a phone call, and the phone call is, where are you, where have you been, what have you done, what, and your heart is racing, and that's not really good for you. And yeah, if you're in a bad relationship, get out of it. You don't need stress. Honestly, you don't need stress in your life. Your job doesn't need to stress you. You can always find something that you can do within your comfort zone. And you can still make money, like without overexerting yourself to a point of death. Like, I know some jobs, they don't allow employees to go missing for a week. And sometimes you need that week because you're unwell. Yeah? I don't know how... There is a nurse who actually has sickle cell. I don't know how she's doing it. I don't know what precautions she's taking.
Oh, she's a nurse?
Yeah. I was surprised. But anyway, God is leading her, and may God bless her. I say, just take care of yourself. Eat well. Drink a lot of water. Look like an idiot carrying a 1 liter, even if it's cold outside. You drink your water and avoid negative people and negative energy in your life, and proceed.
Yeah. I know the care for people in this condition can be very expensive and unaffordable, especially for the normal person. How has that been for you?
It's been a challenge, and you can imagine when I was looking for insurance, every insurance company turned me down. And you literally need insurance because you can't be sick 3 times in a year and need medication and no one is covering you. It's healthcare is unaffordable. I don't even know how people survive out there. At least I have family and friends who
support you.
When I'm in need, I'd call and I'd say, I don't have 100,000 shillings to get me out of hospital. We need to raise it, and they'd raise it in an afternoon in a heartbeat. Because of love.
Wow. So before I let you go, I want to know one thing that you did, maybe as you were growing up much younger, on a very lighter note, that was less than smart. You wish never did.
Going on a hike to Ngong Hills. That was not smart.
Like, what were you thinking? How old were you?
I was just out of high school. Then the youth in church had a get together, and they were like, we need to go hiking. And I didn't tell my mom about it. So I was like, yeah, let's go to Ngong Hills. Then we went and I climbed the first hill, and I was like, you know what, just find me here when you come back. I couldn't go further than that.
Did they find you there?
Yeah, I had to get a car to the point where they had reached. I don't think that was the smartest thing I ever did.
Okay.
In fact, I can say, because we've been precautioned too much in our lives, when you start making decisions on your own, you decide to do really stupid things, especially hindering your health. Yes, but we always have to have that moment so that you can at least tell yourself.
Try that.
Yeah, I did try.
At least I tried.
Yes.
Okay, and what is, if you were to change something in your life, what would that thing be?
I honestly wouldn't change anything because the disease has made me who I am, and the characteristics I have are because of the journey I've had, and the stories I have to tell are so many. So I really wouldn't change that. If I would change anything, I'd change maybe the pain. If I had the capability of just telling God, okay, we can have the condition but without the pain. Because I'd say I would change the pain, but I wouldn't really change anything about myself or anything that I've been through. Yeah.
So finally, what will be like your word of encouragement, or for people out there who have this disease, or for those who maybe have lost even a family member or a friend from this disease? What would you say to them?
It's never the end. It's just the beginning, actually. Because I know there are people whose husbands have left them because maybe their kids, all the kids had sickle cell at the end of the day. Like, it's a struggle, and you just forging on actually encourages other people, and people look at your strength. And I pray that you may rely on God, because without God you really are going nowhere. Rely on God and let God be your guide in everything. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. For John, it's not the end of the world. It's not a death sentence. You can still have quality of life with a good attitude. And for those out there who have been affected by this disease, you can go and seek for information. Information is power. Once you have the information, you're empowered, and you can make the right decisions in regards to seeking for the best health care that you can possibly have. And until next time, I've been your host, Miryamme Ogutu. Bye-bye.